Thank you for joining us today for the virtual volunteer community session. Before I get started, I'm Julie Chiron, and I'm the Director of Interactive Media, and I also want to introduce Bill Mudry, who is our data analyst and also the leader of the implementation of our Alumni Magnet product. Can I hear what kinds of clubs and groups people are from out there? Who do we have represented today?
Chicago Women's Alliance and University of Chicago Women's Business Group.
Okay, Chicago Women's Alliance and University of Chicago Women's Business Group. Anybody else? Ashwin? London?
London Alumni Association.
Okay. Yes?
Food Business Book Roundtable.
Oh, great. Okay. Anybody else?
Chicago Women's Alliance.
Women's Alliance? Great. Thank you. It's very nice to have you here. So, want to go ahead? Sure. We're very excited because last year when we talked about what was happening in the online community, one of our top requests was for microsites, and I'm really pleased to be able to announce to you this year that we have microsites, we've engaged a vendor, and we're rolling out the first few sites now. We spoke to a lot of you. We spoke to our peers. We spoke to the ABG Web and Tech community, really worked with them closely, and a lot of internal stakeholders. And through that whole process of vetting, we chose Alumni Magnet as our platform. The main reason that we chose Alumni Magnet is because it's a very well-built product, and it's built for the club managers. It was originally built for club managers, for them directly, and then they turned it into an enterprise product. So you can see the way that it's built, that it's all in support of you doing your job and increasing alumni engagement. So that was one of the main reasons. And we also liked the way that it allowed us to help you too, because it gives us some tools on the back end so that we can monitor and assist in any way. We're really confident that this is the best product, and it's been refined over the last 10 years with some of our peer institutions who are using it. Harvard Business School, the University of Illinois Alumni Association is now using it, and also Wharton. Those are just some of the few. Where we're at now with the rollout of the product is that we're in a beta release phase. We're going to be working with a couple of groups. Some are here today. So we're working with the UK group, the LGBT group, Seattle, and the biosciences. They are sort of part of our beta release group. We're also going to be building a leader lounge, which you'll see a little later today, and a career site. So those are the sites that we're building out as part of the beta release. The big piece of this, the kind of critical path to this, is syncing this system's data up with the Griffin. You might have heard of Griffin, which is the alumni database of record. So it's really important before we can do a mass rollout to have those two systems synced. So we're expecting to do that in the spring of 2012. And anyone who's here today, we have a sign-up sheet going around. We can add you to our beta site, the Volunteer Leader Lounge. And that way you can get in, have a look around from an end user's point of view. We'll be posting things, and we will maybe even do a little beta testing with you if you're up for it. Okay? So we're really happy with this product. It has almost everything that we were looking for in it. And I'm going to walk you through some of the key features, and then we're going to do a live demo. So, okay? It has all the basic content management things that you would expect, but it also has a couple of nice features that we like. There's a way to feed university news directly from the news office into all of the sites on the network. So there's a constant stream of fresh information for you coming right from the university. It's a good way to connect up your community to the larger university community. We also have an area on the site where we can push out really important information and announcements and events that might be of interest to the entire community. So there's a couple of ways that we can support you in getting a little fresh content on your site. It has a very robust events management tool. You can create your own events, set your own ticket pricing. You'll probably want to do this in concert with your alumni relations team, but as you get the hang of it, there'll probably be a handoff and you'll start doing more and more of your own event management. One of the features that we like is it's small, but it's fun. You can, with a click of a button, add Google Maps and a Look Who's Coming feature. And you can set when you want that to kick in. So after 5 people sign up for this event, I want it to start showing who's coming to the event. It's got a lot of nice little features like that we would have thought about building, and I was really happy to see that it was in the product already. With email marketing, you can send out emails and newsletters. You can populate those newsletters very easily with all the content that already exists on the site. So it's very easy to pull in an event, a job posting, a news article, right into your newsletter before you send it out. With the emails that you do send out, you will have access to all the email metrics for all the emails that you send out. So you'll be able to check right after you send it, or a day after you send it, okay, how many open rates, what was my open rate, how many click-throughs did I get, who clicked on what link, and who was clicking, and how many people clicked on those links. All of that is in service of helping you do better marketing and finding out if your emails are really hitting the target with your audience. So it gives you some really nice tools on the back end to test your own theories about that. Each club maintains its own directory. So we will be pushing some data out to your own database, which you will manage. And the end users, your community members will be invited to come in and update their data. When we hit spring and we had that data feed connected, the people will be able to update their data in your database, and it'll automatically update all the club databases and Griffin. So there's really nice sharing of information so that people can update their profiles with us wherever they are. And the directories, so we'll be syncing in spring. That's a really important part to rolling this out. And okay. So in this economy, we've heard from you all that career networking is very important for your groups. So we've made it a very prominent area of the club when we roll it out to people. You'll see that. And it supports a job posting feature. So community members can share job opportunities that are happening that they know about, that they want to promote with the UChicago community. And then they can review those and then post them to the group. So we can show that a little bit later in the live demo. One of the other nice little features about this product is some of the social networking hooks that they have in it. So we can help you connect up your alumni magnet club with your Facebook club. And I'll show you just one example of how that happens, but there's a couple of them sprinkled throughout. And it has the discussion forums like you are pretty used to, but also a way to create subgroups within your larger community. This is really helpful for, say, affinity groups who have several chapters and they want to target those chapters with their own emails and maybe give them access to specific content just for them. Or say you're Colorado and you're managing that whole area, you could create a subgroup for Denver, a subgroup for Boulder, all of the different areas that are key areas in your group. We are partnering very strongly with the club managers to get these up and running. So we take care of your domain name registration. We'll make sure all your payment processing is working right. We'll take care of all the back end stuff. And then you can focus on content and engagement, which is really what you guys can do that we can't do. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at it. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Sure. Yeah.
Is it still going to be the CNET ID that drives your entrance into the system?
Actually, what we've been able to do is get around that for the club and group. It'll be based on the email address that we have in our system. So when we push data into the database, and Bill, you might want to speak up also. Actually, you want to just explain that?
It's we'll begin when we launch a club. We will use the data we already have for club members and push that into the database, which will include the email address. So the first step will be to announce the new club site and send out the announcement to all the email addresses we have, and that would be their login. and they can then update that if they want to change to a different email address, and they'll have the ability to easily change their passwords as well.
My second question was actually related to what you said, which is around the marketing of this. Is the knowledge base is very low of the systems that we have. This is brilliant stuff. Is there a way you can at least disseminate either this presentation or some form of this presentation to all the club presidents around the world so that they can be advocates for people signing on?
Yeah.
I just don't think the awareness is very high.
Yeah, that's a really great idea to first reach out to all the club presidents, make sure they're all aware of how it works. And we are in the process of developing our communications plan, and so any other ideas you have about how to roll it out would be really useful. Mm-hmm.
Along those lines, is this on the flash drive we just picked up?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it should be. I turned it in. I haven't checked the flash.
And it's being, and I
Oh,
believe
it's-
it's being taped, so
and-
it'll be online.
Oh, great. Uh-huh.
I still think it should be a little bit more proactive.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm wider than this, but you've used this word magnet. It's in the name of the company, it's in the name of this product. Is it proprietary or is it a technical, does it have a technical meaning? So that I might get an understanding about what's going on here. Or it's just some savvy marketing.
Well, a couple of things that might help answer that question. One is that the magnet is a marketing name, the concept of drawing all your alums to you. It is a proprietary system. It's a hosted vendor application, so all of this is hosted on their servers, and we are licensing the product. Does that help explain okay.
Will it still be limited only to alumni? For example, if we have affiliates who are not alumni but really would like to participate, will there be any way for them to join some subgroups or something? No?
Yes, the clubs will include alumni and non-alumni. Yeah.
This is something we brought up about at the last volunteer conference I was at 5 years ago. But is there a way to post? Suppose we proactively go to Valley's Total Fitness and say, "Can you give us a University of Chicago discount?" Is there a way to post that on your it's part of the link?
Absolutely. I mean, you have the ability to build pages however you like, either as news articles or event articles, and so you can put that information onto a web page that you link to the front page very easily. Yeah.
Well, that,
Uh,
except for
okay,
the
act-
question,
okay.
Control. How much control do we have over content? Do you have to approve anything we put on?
Samantha, I would say, go, do whatever you want.
And there'll be a, so your club liaison, whoever you work with in your area, will work with you. But ideally, the club head administrator will be able to approve the content. And there's a best practices guide. We would ask that you would not be spamming your constituents. But, as long as you're following those best practices guide, it's your site.
So they could pull it off. It could be pulled off, whatever. Anything we put on could be pulled off.
Well,
If it was egregious, I suppose, but
if it violated
I
the
hope
best-
you know.
I suppose if it violated the best practices agreement that everybody agreed to, but if you're asking if somebody posts something that the club doesn't like, yes, the club can pull, the club has to approve the information before it goes out.
Well, I'm saying with the university, because this is in part university image, university brand. So I'm just wondering, I know you mentioned best practices, but of course we haven't seen that, but we'll see. I would have pulled off the offer for the Bali. I wouldn't put that on there. I don't think it's a matter of opinion, what's appropriate. So that's what made me wonder, can you pull stuff off?
Yeah, and I would leave that up to the liaison to discuss with the club manager if it seems like it's out of sync. Yes, Samuel?
Right now, the product is going to be connected with Griffin. And one of the questions we have with Griffin is, for instance, for Europe, we can only take people in one country. Is there a way to upload a list which is different from the one in Griffin, instead of asking people to re-register to something else, instead of an email where we have to check? Let's take for example, we have 270 people in Griffin, 770 on our organization.
Yeah, I was thinking about you because in your instance, since you already have a pretty significant database, we would work with you to probably use that as the, and I don't want to go too far. but-
Sure, yeah, I think we would definitely want to include your list of members that do not exist in Griffin, as well as if there are, we would try to link that up as much as we can. And then going forward, I think what would happen then is all of those people that you had that Griffin did not would be put into Griffin, and then the data could be managed back and forth.
But sometimes people work in Griffin within different, which is very different. Like when you travel from New York to Chicago to the US, it's pretty simple. But when you go from like Geneva to Paris or Brussels to Paris, it's even shorter distance. Yet in Griffin, people don't.
Well, another part of that is that we would work with certain areas to, even Seattle might want to include Portland in it, but we would probably work with you to determine what are the areas, groups that you want to include in, like Brussels and Switzerland. And
But since Griffin is kind of a little bit restricted sometimes, is it going to be feasible in Griffin to add 3 locations for 1 person? I guess that's what it comes down to. 3 active addresses.
I think with regards to this system, we are limiting the number of addresses that will be available on their profile. They can be a part of as many clubs as you want them to be a part of, and that's a slightly different question. I think as far as how many addresses, I think Griffin can maintain multiple addresses. So that would be a matter of working with Griffin to see how we can get that information into their database.
Stephanie.
The address that we pull from Griffin would be the preferred address, not necessarily all the active addresses.
Yes, yes.
Okay. The second question I have is that will the system be able to handle payments in currencies other than US dollars?
Well, actually, one of our beta clubs is UK, and we're going to be working that out, just that question out with them, because that was, definitely something that would be important to them. So we have the payment processing in place or in works right now for the U.S. currency, and we hope to be able to get that linked up for other currencies as well.
Okay. Oh, yes.
This might sound kind of odd, but what about somebody who was willing to share their email address with the club but not wanting it on Griffin and accessible? What are your provisions for handling that?
So they don't want it in the Griffin database?
Yeah, this is tricky.
They can take themselves out of directories or hide information from directories. Right now, there is not a provision to take themselves out of Griffin because we are relying on a synchronized feed of information.
That's an issue.
I would think that, I work in and I think that if you do want your information removed from Griffin, there might be a provision to that you contact the Alumni Association directly,
Yeah.
but not through the website itself.
That makes sense.
And then there's the different.
Yeah, we can talk about
And
exactly.
then the different issues, you have different email addresses for different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that might be another related to what you're talking about. You don't want your club database to change the one that's in Griffin, because
Interesting. Yeah, that's a really good.
What is the fee structure when people make online payments via the website? You have 2%, 3%? What is the cost for the association?
I wish I had brought my. There is a cost for the university, but we're not, and you can speak to this, we're not
Yeah.
planning on passing that cost along to the clubs.
Now, would it be possible, because there's kind of like, let's say there's an event which is like $20, and price it at like 21 with $1 going as a donation to the university. Is it something that would be feasible in the structure?
I'm not sure if that specific, like rolling it into the price of the event is built into the tool, but I know that what you can do is have your registration amount, $25, and then have a separate, on the same form, would you like to also give to the university? And they can include both of those transactions into one transaction when they submit the registration.
Okay, we'll take one more before we go on.
Question in terms of transiency, meaning I live in Seattle, and if I wanted to go to, I was traveling to California somewhere, San Francisco Club. Do I have access into the portal to the San Francisco Club as a member of the larger UC community?
Not automatically. I think there are certain content you can see that anybody can see that's public. So if you know, you can look them up on the club list and go to the site. Anyone can request to be added to a club. So you can register on their site, and there's a process to add, for the leaders of the site of the club to add new members. So you can be added that way if you're planning it in advance enough. But if you're just looking for events, I would imagine there would at least be some events you could view just by going to that club site.
Yeah, I think my comment was more than just events. It was extending new jobs and all that stuff as well. It's more kind of scaling into the overall community.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there would be the ability to add an individual to add themselves to a club that, regional club that they don't live in, for instance.
Okay, we'll go ahead and show you the live demo. This is our leader lounge, which is sort of like our model condo site at the moment. We're in the process of building it out. We're testing a couple things here and there, but eventually it will go live and it will be the place that all of our alumni volunteer leaders can come. So I'll just point out a couple of things that we've been talking about. The portal page aggregates content from all over your site. So you'll see that there's the latest news, and if you scroll down a little more, we've got upcoming events. We pull in some latest forum posts, recent job posts. So it makes your website, it makes your homepage, which is viewable by everybody, a really lively space. And if you scroll back up, here is an example of the news feed from the university. So these would be updating as the university posted new news. This is an area that we control where we can push out information about important events like Alumni Weekend. So, okay, let's take a look at events. So here's the event page. This is something that you should be able to see without logging in. So you could go to the San Francisco site and take a look at what events are happening. We've got a calendar overview, so you can see all the dates that might have an event on them if you're going to be in for a week. This is a nice feature. It's sort of it's an automatic. It shows the recent events that you have. So if you don't have a lot of events, but you have good events, this way people can see, okay, there's a couple things happening, but oh, that speaker just came. Wow, they have a lot of really good things going on here. This is exciting. And there's also a nice feature that's included, the tell a friend. So if you click on that, it automatically launches your email client, and you can share this event with anybody that you want. Okay, let's take a look at the job postings. So we put jobs in networking, really important feat, putting it very prominently. We just put some information about the career services that the university adds, but you could put anything here that you want. This is a content page. And then down at the bottom, these are all, it appends all of the job posts that the head administrator of the site has approved. So if you want to just take a look at one of the job posts. This is a content page. You can put anything here that you want, and you can put in links to apply for the positions. Okay, let's take a look at the news section now. You just populate it with a couple of news articles. I'm going to show you how easy it is to add some Facebook social networking integration into something. So let's go ahead and look at this. Now I'm logged in as an administrator right now, so I have this button here that I can click to edit this page. And you'll find that throughout the site. It makes it really easy for administrators who are working with content. If they see, oh, there's a typo there, I can just click on that button and immediately fix it. So here's what it looks like from the back end. This is an article edit page. And if you go down to the bottom here, so, well, yeah, here we have this code hidden. You want to take the Facebook code?
Yep. I think it's already there, actually.
I know. So, or we can just scroll back up. So we put the Facebook code here. It's just this little line of code, but when you add that to your to the bottom of your article, then if you go back, it adds this Facebook commenting feature into it. Now, if I add a comment here and I have that post to Facebook clicked, what's going to happen is it's going to allow me to comment on this article within this section, but it'll also post that comment to Facebook, and the Facebook comment has a link back to this article. So it's a very nice bridge, and if you're posting from your, say, Seattle Facebook page to this site, you can create a nice bridge between your Facebook site and your other site. Yes? It doesn't have as much for LinkedIn, but they are working on that. So, we know that that's a really important part of this too. So we are pushing them to do that.
How about Twitter?
Twitter, it does have some Twitter. You can do sort of similar things. They have little Twitter codes that you can put into the articles and events. And we also have, buttons that link the two together. So there's some good bridges between all this site and the social media sites. Okay, let's just take a look at the networking tools. Yeah. These are the subgroups that I talked to you about. You can create them. You create them by pooling together people who are interested in a particular topic. So everyone who signs that sheet today, we're going to put you into this site, give you access to the site, and then if you want, you can come and join this group. This is a private group, a public group, so anybody can join it. You can also have private groups, and you can also have hidden groups, so that only you and a couple of other people in the club even see that when they log in. This group, what we'll do going forward is use it sort of as our beta test group. So if there's some questions that we want to ask you about, well, do you like this or do you like this better, we'll just email out to the people who've joined this group. You want to just show a discussion board too and see how those look? Here are some of the discussion boards. Some of these are private and some of these are public. Since I'm an administrator, I can see discussions that are specifically for administrators. But the normal person who's logging in would only see the public discussions. Okay, let's go look at now I'm going to show you a few of the back-end tools so you can kind of see what the administrators would be working with. You want to go look at the article, manage articles? This is your article repository. So articles are content. They could be events. They can be news. This shows you all of the articles and lets you kind of keep track of them that way. You have some tools that you can apply to these. You can also filter, say I only want to see the events. And that would show you all of the events that are currently on your site. So it's a nice way, it really has a lot of nice tools for managing content, making it super easy for you to locate things, pull them into your email boxes, your email newsletter, excuse me. Okay, now let's go look at manage events. Here are some of the events that we've put in. You want to take a look at I guess any of those would work. So we're not actually having any live events, so you won't see a lot of data here, but every event has this event report connected to it. It'll show you how many tickets were sold. They do a day-by-day ticket sale, so you can see, the third day really spiked. You can kind of see if any of the newsletters that you're sending have a significant impact on how your ticket sales are doing. There's a lot of information here. Also, for every event, you can have specific RSVP questions. So say it's an event with a dinner, you can ask, are you vegetarian? Or if it's an event where you are doing a wine tasting, you can ask, do you like white or do you like red? So there's a lot of ways that you can engage your audience further in the event announcement. Okay, let's look at ticket sales. Oh, the ticket disappeared because, oh no, there it is, good. Okay, so we have the one ticket. Again, we're not doing a whole lot with ticket sales right now, but just to show you what it is. This is a volunteer caucus ticket. You want to edit that? Every ticket also has a significant amount of information that you can attach to it. You can set different ticket prices. You can set a ticket price and then set a higher ticket price for 5 days before the event, so you can do more targeted marketing, and if you're trying to increase your sales or the money that you're making on these, it has a few tools for that as well. Okay. And let's look at the support tracker. So every club has its own issue tracker. This is a way for club managers to track all of the questions that are coming from your people, from your community members. And it's also a way for you to escalate anything that you think we should be able to deal with. And it's a great way for us to know, okay, we've got several open tickets. We need to help Seattle. We need to help UK. And then we'll have a good record of all of the effort that's being made around whatever problems you have. And for us, we can aggregate these all the way up, so we get a system-wide view of all of the issues that are happening. And we've heard from the vendor that over time, initially in the rollout, 60% of the questions are about technical issues, but after it's stable, a year or so into it, they're primarily questions about, hey, can I get insurance through the Alumni Association? It's really more questions that are related to being an alum and being engaged. Okay, do you want to just cycle through the clubs that we have?
Sure. So we have our beta sites set up. Still working on populating with content. Here's the life sciences, LGBT, Seattle, and United Kingdom. So again, these are all in development at the beta stage, so they'll be posting content and populating the sites.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Mm-hmm.
In my limited alumni outreach experience, I find that you're sending out content via email, and every other organization in the world is sending out content via email. Are you guys at all thinking about how to make sure that people are actually opening those emails or actually reacting to them compared to the thousands of other emails that or do you have recommendations or things along this? Because this is great and there's so much here, but it's a shame when people are bombarded with so much on a daily basis and then don't enter this portal because they're just opening up.
Yeah. Samantha, do you guys want to talk about how you'd support them with the marketing?
Are you saying in terms of how we're going to get people to actually join the site, open that email saying you're encouraged to join the site?
No, if you're already an active member and you got it 6 months ago and now you're receiving a flow of communication, but that doesn't guarantee that your members are going to start clicking forward and exploring all these things. And kind of how do you make that jump between opening the email or seeing it on your BlackBerry and then kind of going forward from there?
Right. I mean, I think that we're going to work with each club and each club liaison will work with the club, the board there to figure out what best practices work. The university is also going to scale back. So, for example, Seattle, the university will scale back its own, its own regional newsletters to allow the club newsletters to take precedence, because obviously that's what the clubs want. So the reason that we have university-focused content is that so we can still share the messaging that is important. For example, come to volunteer caucus is still going to remain important to the university, but this way, if what's really important to the Seattle club is their wine tasting, their messaging doesn't get lost in the university messaging. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? We can do a little recap. Okay.
How does one get involved in this learning?
Yeah, well, the first part is to join the group. We'll add you in, so that way you can look around. We'll also be posting more information. We'll be maybe running some beta tests through that group. We'll be posting more handbooks about how to use Alumni Magnet, how to get ready for it. When we hit the spring and we're ready to do the mass rollout, we'll be doing them in batches. And the most important thing that we've seen is that clubs have content and photos, all of that stuff ready to go. And so you might think about, you guys have a lot of that pretty well developed, some other clubs don't, but what's the club's mission, who are our leaders, getting all of that content ready to go, maybe even doing an interview with one of your star volunteers, just having those things ready will make it go much more quickly. It takes about 2 weeks when it's all up and running for you to get all your content populated and get going. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, like one question. People are kind of hooked to Facebook, so they check Facebook every day, and so is there like any possibility to pull them from there? For example, do we have to create an additional group on Facebook, or can it be done? Like, we want to get people from Facebook to our site.
Yeah.
Do we need to create a Facebook group for that, or is it like?
Because you don't have a Facebook group now. You do.
Yeah, but like, is it essential? Is the only way to pull people from Facebook to our site to post a duplicate of our announcement on Facebook?
No, you can do a lot of other things on Facebook. We've been experimenting with Facebook ads to try to get the University of Chicago community aware of some of the things that we're doing. You could do that that would draw attention to your external content.
So those ads are published where?
On Facebook.
Where?
Oh, usually right about here.
They're just like, are they on people's walls? Are they on the university?
They're on their sites, their profile pages.
So whoever is the university alumni or affiliate gets this ad.
Mm-hmm. And actually, we're doing 2 things this afternoon on social media. We're having a social media roundtable, and later there's a session on building buzz. And those 2 things will talk a lot about Facebook and your other content and how to bring attention to what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just a really quick question on the first page when somebody comes into a local, a local club. Is there free information you don't need to be logged in on to actually? So if I'm a prospective member that wants to join the Seattle club, but I'm not yet a member and I don't want to log in.
Most likely, most of what you see here, they will be able to see. Each club leader can set permission levels on all of the content that they post. So if it's something that they don't want the public to see, they can set an access level to that. But most of what you're gonna, like the news and the events, all of the UChicago news would be public.
We found with the job posts, for example, you could maybe see that the job exists, but when you click on it, you have to log in to do that. So that would be a scenario for something you might want to hide.
So basically there's settings if they're logged in or not.
Yes.
And it's all owned by the club.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize, I came in late, so maybe you announced this. Are these portals all for regional clubs, or do you also have these for affinity groups and graduate schools, et cetera?
Yes. Right now, our 4 beta sites are 2 regional and 2 affinity. So yeah, the intention is it can be available to any of those clubs.
Okay, any other questions? Comments? We're really excited to have you all join us as part of the beta release. And so make sure you've got your name on the list if you want to be included. And we'll be next week adding everybody in, so you'll see some emails from us about this.
Where's the list now?
Let's see, I saw it a little winding around. I don't know where it is now.
So we have a list of email names?
It's the email list? Is that it? There it is. Okay, great. Make sure that you're on that list if you want. And Bill and I's business cards are here if you want to get in touch with us personally about any questions you have. Thank you very much for joining us. We're really excited to roll this out to you.